Hey gamers, welcome to the Part-Time Gamers Club where we game part-time but support gaming all the time. For those of you tuning back in, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the crew. I'm Gio, alongside me is Gerard. And today, we're going to be discussing Bungie and the future of Bungie going forward with Sony looking like it's going to pretty much integrate it into PlayStation Studios.
Nom nom nom.
S- So what do you think that looks like, Gerard? What is the future looking like? What does that mean for the titles that the projects they were currently working on and the future of Destiny games, etc.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Do you think Bungie would be a burrito, or because legitimately that's all Sony is looking at right now, like food, because they
Like a
pick,
snack?
yeah, like a snack. Because Bungie has, for context, Sony acquired Bungie in 2022. This was with the hopes of Sony's kind of push forward, trying to get a live service game under their belts. And we've seen their initiative on that for these past few years with how many live service games are coming out. And the reason why they picked up Bungie is solely for the fact of Destiny 2.
Hmm.
But Destiny 2 has been dropping off. I believe it's dropped at least 10,000 players like right now, and mistakes that Bungie has made over and over and over again. Uh, Sony has seen Bungie as a liability, and the nail in the coffin was the basically like bad rep that Marathon got. As that game was supposed to put Bungie back on the map. Instead, it put Bungie into the news, ripping off AI, or excuse me, taking AI generated content and putting it in the game, and even stealing art from other artists. Uh, did not shine any good light on Bungie. So this is something that Sony's probably been thinking about for a year or two, and it's only a matter of time until Sony officially like trips it, guts it, and takes it apart and goes fishing with it because Bungie is not looking good and it's on the chopping block. So that's why I brought up burrito pizza because burrito means it's all enclosed. They got all the goodness inside. Pizza means it's all on the top. It's all surface layer. It's probably not even baked all the way through, but it's got pepperoni on there, so at least that's good. So, what are your thoughts on Sony taking Bungie and probably either stripping away the Bungie name and bringing in them in, or just redoing management and from the ground down?
It depends on them and how they feel. Is it important to keep the name? Is the name still big enough in the gaming world to draw the audience? Does it matter? I mean, I think if they just get integrated with PlayStation Studios, I mean, PlayStation Studios is big enough on its own. It doesn't really need the title Bungie. I think if I guess it really just depends what you think what value do you think the name brings still, if it does have any value to it still. Like you said, it's had some major losses in setbacks recently. So I mean, honestly, man, I haven't really thought of the name Bungie or looked at Bungie the same since back in Halo days. Like I don't think I think they're way past their peak at this point. That's just me being honest. So maybe if they think it's just a manager, like leadership direction and vision that needs to be corrected, then sure, you keep the name and you do that. But if you think, you know what, there's no value to this, we don't need the managers either. We'll just take their top talent and put it into PlayStation Studios, then that's what you do.
Yeah, and I also think Bungie is going the same route. Well, I don't even say same route. I think Bungie ended up the same way like Infinity Ward did under Activision,
Hmm.
where they've for a very long time Bungie in the beginning when they were making Halo, they were tied to Microsoft and they were just focused on Halo. We're doing Halo 1, Halo 2. And even during Halo 2 days, there was a lot of tension between Bungie and or
Mhm.
not Activision, Microsoft, uh,
Microsoft. Mhm.
because they were being forced to make that game. Like they had deadlines and stuff like that, and they were asking for a whole bunch of like changes because Bungie at that time was a gaming or for the gamers kind of company. And it wasn't
Mhm.
until like devs started burning out and then leaving the company during Halo 3 days that Bungie finally made a decision and was like, "Hey, we're gonna this is our last Halo that we're going to main like we'll probably do a few more Halos, but we're leaving." Okay, so they did Halo Reach,
Mhm.
they did ODST, uh, and they bounced, and they ended up under Activision somehow. I don't know how you go from like we want some creative freedom, let's go to a different company. Um,
They went
so
to Activision, like, that was better.
yeah, and then they ended up making along the lines Destiny. Activision already had like if I don't know what they thought because they already had their Bungie, which is Infinity Ward with Call of Duty,
Mm.
because Call of Duty was the exact same way. Infinity War was like forced to
Yeah.
make that game so quickly that, and they had a lot of creative problems. I say creative problems, but creative issues, especially with like trying to figure out like, hey, we own Call of Duty. Infinity Ward's like, but Activision's like, no, we own Call of Duty. So they were fighting over the property rights, and then into the end, like a whole bunch of companies just left, or a whole bunch of devs, especially the higher like senior devs, left to make Respawn. So that's what ended up happening to Bungie as well. And what's
Well,
left
that
over,
was that I think that's different. I don't know, maybe you could correct me, but that was the head people of Infinity Ward, and a lot of that was due to also money that was owed to them, about 400 million. So that
yes.
was there was a lot more, I think, when
No, there's
Infinity
a
Ward and what caused Infinity Ward to become that smaller
Infinity War. There's
land
still
company.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I know, but
but
I don't.
Bungie was the exact same way in like maybe they weren't owed money, but they were asking for extensions to their deadlines, and Microsoft said no. They were putting a whole bunch of pressure, and they were a ragtag group that were making Bungie was making Mac games before they made Halo. So uh it's been a long time since or they've never been in that corporate position, and the people that headed like had the ideas of Halo and everything like that, those senior devs, those people that have been there for the longest, got burned out. And my thought is they got burned out for the same reason the Infinity War people got burned out, corporate greed. That's what really what
Yeah,
happened. So
mhm.
in the end, Bungie is no longer after like Halo Reach, no longer themselves. It's a shell. I don't want to say a shell of a company, but basically, the original Bungie is no longer there. It's a new Bungie. So Destiny comes out, that didn't perform well. I wonder why. Uh, and they had to rebrand and make Destiny 2.
Yeah,
Destiny
pretty quick
2,
too.
yeah, Destiny 2 ends up going off, but like it was Destiny 2 shouldn't have existed in the first place. Destiny 1 should have been Destiny 2. They should have
Hmm.
just did what Final Fantasy 14 did and just rebranded Destiny and just say, "Hey, Destiny Reborn." Okay?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
I got you. No, you're right, because it's essentially the same game, an extension of the same game, just a more finished product.
yes. Uh and in the end, that's my thoughts on how they're like very similar, but in the end, this is kind of the problem that the industry has. And why Bungie is just it's not even if you keep the name, it's not gonna do anything. So I agree with
It's
you.
mainly AAA though. It's mainly AAA. AAA is what's having this problem because of, like you said, corporate greed.
Yeah,
And I don't know when it's going to change because,
where
like you said,
AAA
there is some
crashes.
successful live service games that are probably keeping up a lot of these AAA publishing companies. But at the end of the day, if they want to continue to grow profit wise and they want these games to be blockbusters, because that's what it seems like. Every AAA game they think is going to be the next blockbusters. Like, there's only so much gamers can play at one time and buy and afford to buy in this economy right now. So I mean, I feel bad for Bungie at the same time, but like you said, it's kind of like a shell of itself anyway. So the name is not what it used to be anyway. So I don't I think that's pretty much going to be the end of Bungie, and it'll just be PlayStation Studios. Personally, I don't see why you even keep the name at this point.
Yeah, and like Halo in Microsoft, they
Mhm.
Bungie or like 343 Studios has been working on it, and like a lot of people have
Yeah,
said the recent Halo is
they suck.
better now.
You think so?
Uh, I haven't played it. I said that's what I've heard reviews wise is that the most recent Halo, the Master Collection specifically,
Hmm.
is caught up and is good now for what I've heard. Um, and I've been always a I don't want to say I've been a Call of Duty head. I liked Halo. I just never owned an Xbox. I owned my PlayStation,
Hmm.
and so I ended up on Call of Duty. Uh, but like, let's be honest, it's they basically the same coin. Bungie's on one side, Infinity Ward's on the other side, and they got treated the exact, or they didn't get treated the exact same, but they got treated the same, like trash, and that it makes no sense to me, especially Halo and Call of Duty, the devs that make both of like I kid you not, FPS defining games
Hmm.
are literally just not what they are anymore, and that's mostly because of just deadlines and corporate greed. But more importantly, like Sony's like the example and probably sees it just like, hey, this isn't the same company that made Halo. Hell, it's probably not
Hmm.
even the same company that started with Destiny 2.
Hmm.
So maybe you do sell it out, but like
You're
I
not gonna
don't
get much. You're
I
not gonna get much
think
for it.
no.
You pay too much. They paid too much for it. $3.6 billion. Because they were still riding high off of Destiny 2. So Destiny 2 was still doing well. So the Bungie name still had value at that time. Now, does it have value? Like I said, I haven't heard anything successful from Bungie in a long time. So like I feel like it's just devalued under Sony rather than, you know, increased, and gain value. It's what they call that. It's receded.
I mean that's all word, yeah. uh
It's
it's
declined.
it's deflated. And,
Yeah.
and definitely they're not looking good. Uh but like this is it's mostly it's actually not mostly. It's entirely Bungie's fault. I can't say because I'm not a board member, so I don't know what those
Hmm.
conversations are. But I think with Marathon, like they were putting so much hopes into it, and then they like obviously didn't do any surveys, didn't ask anybody what their thoughts on the game was. Obviously, the open beta was a wake up call to them, which it shouldn't have been. They should have known exactly how people was going to respond to that kind of
So
gameplay.
that's what I was gonna ask you too, because like, all right, granted, Bungie was like, "Oh crap, everybody's not feeling this," and like you said, they probably should have caught on to this earlier. But at the same time, do you think Sony at some point was watching this game and had maybe some people also helping look into it, test it out, and was like, "Hey, this ain't looking good. Like, this is
So
not looking good."
between publishers and studios, it's not usually like that. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so for between publishers and studios, it's more like publishers would meet up, talk
Mhm.
about like financing contracts, distribution, and things like that. But they don't constantly keep track, especially like Sony. Sony's like they have their two divisions, America and Japan, but like America has also their hands in a lot of different games. They don't have the time to go check on the status of games. They could probably check on the development
But
and probably talk to like senior devs, or even they're probably not even going that low. They're probably just talking straight to like managers or TPMs. They're just like, "Hey, how's the status going?" And they're like, "Oh, this is our timeline." They're not probably even seeing even a play test or a product.
that's what see. So okay, if that's the case, right? Let's say even that's the majority, a very few percent actually check into what they're investing. And I know you say this is mainly Bungie's fault, but at the same time, I feel like Sony kind of failed it too, because if this is one of your high budgeted games, you would think you're paying more closer attention to that and making sure, hey, and this investment that I'm putting into this particular game, and this is the product that we literally bought this company to make this type of game for us. What is it looking like? Is this gonna show a return of investment? I feel like these publishers should know to some extent. All right, we know they're a little uh what you call it detached from what gamers actually like. We know that, but at some point you got to be like, this is not going to be a good game, or maybe, hey guys, you might want to change this because you're going down a direction, and the way we've seen games trend, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, you're gonna bomb,
Uh,
and we're gonna lose a lot of money.
I so there are two things. One,
Hmm.
that's to assume because Bungie's an American company, so Sony
Hmm.
would only be sending the American
Yeah,
headquarters over. That's assuming the rep for the Sony actually knows what a good game is. Uh,
yeah.
the
Fair
second
enough.
thing is, uh, they did open beta, which
Mhm.
means that it wasn't even they didn't have a finished product.
Yeah.
Which means whatever, if the Sony rep actually did see playtests or even played the game, he was
Mhm.
probably getting a very curated experience, where they were by his side talking to him, telling him everything he needs to do and things like that. And he was getting an experience very withdrawn. I say he, but it could be a she. So they were getting an experience withdrawn from the game itself, because they were looking at it as a product, not as a video game. And that's
Mhm.
like where the separation and attachment usually comes from, is that
Yeah.
you won't know if a game is good. You will only know if a game is bad, because a good game will only be told that is good by the majority. When you put it into gamers' hands, you will now know what the majority thinks, and that's what determines if a game is good. Because each person has a different perspective, each person has a different opinion, each person plays differently. So, unless a lot of people enjoy the game,
The
you can't tell
majority.
if it's a good game. But you can tell if it's a bad game, because boy, oh boy, they are flags, and
Mhm.
Marathon had all of them.
Oh, they lit it up, all right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like, Sony, if they do take over, and it just seems like it eventually will just become PlayStation Studios, a branch of PlayStation Studios, basically. I just think at the same time, these publishing companies got to start, you know, looking within, so to speak. Like, what are we doing to these development teams that we're destroying them? Because they really are. If you think
Burnout.
about it, like you said, if Infinity Ward, Bungie, like to an extent, it's not the development teams that are just stop being good. I think you burn them out. They start losing their passion for what they do. They start losing the love for the game, and that starts killing the creativity. That starts putting out the product that we're getting as gamers, the low quality of products that we're getting. Because, like you said, it's all about pushing the numbers now. They don't care if you need this X amount of time. They don't care. It needs to be by this quarter because we need to make sure we meet these projections that we set forth. And, I like I said, I just think, Sony's just as much as fault. I get if this doesn't work out with Bungie, which it doesn't look like it is, and they're already starting the process, it appears. So, yeah, I don't know if to say Bungie. It kind of sad because there was once upon a time where Bungie was it. You know what I mean? Like I remember that being a big development team name. Like when you heard Bungie, you were like, "Ooh, I want to see what this game looks like." You know what I mean?
I I do. I I blame Sony a little bit, because my thoughts are Sony wanted a live service game. But when they
Hmm.
picked up Bungie in 2022, they probably forced them to keep working on Destiny 2 no matter what. And Bungie probably couldn't have the bandwidth and or time to make another game. Because my thoughts
Probably
are,
can't put enough talent towards the new
yeah,
game while
Bungie
maintaining.
probably
Makes sense.
needed, and this is my opinion.
Hmm.
So if anyone disagrees with me, go to hell. Uh Destiny 2 needed to be put down. Destiny 2 needed to be put a long time ago. And I say long time ago, I meant like 2021. Uh because Destiny 2 had its story finished for all intents and purposes. And they're just adding more stuff. It's like WoW, or Final Fantasy 14, where once the story finishes, like the story that you've been working up this entire time, it really hard to keep your veterans like interested.
Well, I think too, Destiny, like the difference between comparing Destiny to the games that you mentioned is there's a lot of lore behind Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. So there's a lot more storylines that is already pre-built, you know what I mean? Pre-existed that they can do those continuations and expansions and have better success. Destiny was a brand new title in itself. So like
Yes.
nobody knew the lore. You know what I mean?
I mean, and then there is lore. There are people that
Hmm.
like there's world building and everything like that. It is a new world for I will give you granted because World of Warcraft is in the Warcraft universe and Final
Yeah.
Fantasy is taking all the Final Fantasy aspects and things like that and
Yeah.
putting it. But that doesn't mean like if you told me Destiny was in the Marathon universe, I could see that, and then it would make more sense.
Or even
Uh,
Halo.
in the Halo
There's a
universe,
universe there. Like you have a lore. You have so much backstory that you can build from.
I don't know if they can because Microsoft owns Halo, like the name Halo.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And part of it, I will blame Bungie on this point. And you know what? People be like, that was their right, and Microsoft may have not been the best, but they brought out the best of Bungie. The best product that Bungie ever put out was through Microsoft. And yes, you left them because you wanted to be able to create other games. I understand that. You don't want to be tied to one game. I completely understand that. But at the same time, it looks like Microsoft provided you the structure that you needed. Because clearly, since you've been on your own, you haven't been the best.
Well, I mean, Destiny 2 did hit off, but also like I would say that like Halo 1
Hmm.
was what Bungie was trying to make. Like that's Bungie at their best.
Halo 2 was perfect. Halo 2
But
was perfect.
Halo 2 caused the Bungie to no longer exist. The Bungie we knew no longer exists after Halo 2.
You chose? Well, I think Halo 3 was probably the decline. Because
No,
Halo
so
3 was when they wanted to
all
really
the
push all
the
that access.
Halo 2 had so four of the original give me a second.
Bungie Halos? No.
Uh the original Bungie team, uh I say original, but like the founders of Bungie, majority of them left after Halo 2. Some of them left during
Oh,
Halo 2 because there was a lot of pressure from Microsoft to get it done before the year's end, even when they were
mhm.
asking for extension. A lot of them burned out during Halo 2 times. Like Halo 2 came out as a finished good product, but Bungie was like war torn and stressed out and burnt out, and then they went straight into Halo 3. So
Yeah.
they at that point were like taking damage, and it is Microsoft's fault for doing that. Yes, Halo ended up being like a generation defining video game, but it did cost Bungie everything.
I guess. I guess that's fair. I think at the same time, because what I remember, I'd have to really dig in. But from my understanding, Bungie's big issue was that they wanted to create other types of games, not
Yes.
just Halo.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what their biggest frustration was and gripe.
yes, but it was a mix of things. They could not
Mm,
make anything
yeah.
else besides Halo,
Mhm.
and they had to make it within a certain time. Like they were asked like, "Hey, make Halo 2 2 years from now," and it
Yeah, they
right
were trying
after
to keep
Halo.
the same timelines of Call of Duty, and you couldn't do that because first off, Call of Duty Activision had 2 different teams creating Call of Duties. So you can do it every year because it was every 2 years technically for each development team.
Mhm.
But even
And
then they were still stressed. 2 years
exactly,
isn't a lot of time.
it is not. And that's why I go like Bungie, like after Halo Reach, which by the way, I adore Halo Reach. And there's a lot of
Mhm.
people to this day that say Halo Reach is the best Halo. That's I heresy. But I can see that being top 5. Halo Reach is a great story.
No, no, it's a
Halo
great game. It's a great game, but no, not the beats Halo 2. I'm sorry. Not the beats Halo.
um but I don't think after Halo Reach,
Mhm.
Bungie in my eyes was not even Bungie. That was a different company. They might as well have been 343 at that point. Because it was just not the same. And I'm not even gonna say the same devs. That's not even my point. It's not even the same like vibe, not the same
Yeah, yeah.
culture, not the
Vision.
same vision, not the same direction. That
Mhm.
was just a different company at that point. So at the end of the day, will I be sad that Bungie has left? Man, I already mourned that loss long time ago.
I mean, I couldn't get into the Destiny games. I know it was a
I tried.
hit, the Destiny 2, but
I tried
I
both.
tried it. I tried, but I, I don't know. It kind of felt Halo-ish, but it wasn't Halo, so that's kind of what bothered me. And because I knew they couldn't do Halo anymore, it just kind of killed the vibe for me. And now that they may no longer be, because I think we talked about this. It was probably off camera, but I think I mentioned it to you one time. I was like, kind of like a gear situation. I was like, what about like Microsoft made a deal with Bungie to make a Halo? You know what I mean? To kind of
I
really
wouldn't even
bring
play
back,
it.
yeah, yeah, because it's not the same Bungie team like you said at this point. It's really not. So
Yeah. And
it's unfortunate.
yeah, and like if they were going to make another Halo, like Halo Infinite, which that excuse me, not Halo Master Collection, that Halo Infinite's the one
Halo
I was thinking.
Infinite, yeah.
Um, that's the like recently gotten better, and a lot of Halo people are enjoying that. But like at the end of the day, Destiny
Mhm.
needed to not be Destiny 2. You know what? Actually, the downfall of Bungie after Destiny was that they couldn't make another game. Destiny was their only game that they could like actually produce and hold on for a long time.
Yeah, they had no creative
Because like
vision.
without a second game, like Destiny 2 is your main moneymaker, and that's a problem.
Well, then I start questioning Marathon, like you said, was supposed to be like a darker tone game. A lot of people that are original fans of the Marathon game, and it's like you went back to one of your titles. That's your title, but yet you tried to change it. Like, what is going on in the leadership's vision and direction? Like you said, like it's
It
changed
wasn't
so much.
it wasn't the
It's
old Bungie. They didn't
Yeah,
have no tie to Marathon. They knew that they had the IP to Marathon, but they didn't make Marathon. The people that made that decision never touched Marathon at all. The
yeah.
original people that made Marathon are no longer at the company.
Hmm. Well, it's
So
clear.
so it's like, oh, well, we have this IP that's been on our back burner forever, and we're just going to use it. And then people are like, hey, this is great. You're making a marathon. Wait, this is not marathon. And then they Pikachu face. They're like, what do you mean it's not marathon? The name's right there. It's marathon. So like,
Well, rest in peace to Bungie.
yeah, because
Rip.
like, I don't think Sony would if I only think so. The only reason why Sony hasn't already ripped them apart, uh, is because they are busy with their own stuff, and it's
Hmm.
time consuming.
Well, I think there's some internal stuff going on with Sony too, with the Japanese side and the American side, because Sony hasn't been too happy with some of the debacles they've had under their belt recently too. So think there's a lot of internal decision making changing and going on, more so from the Japan side because we talked about this. The Eastern side, when we get the games from Japan and stuff, they're usually a lot more successful.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm trying to remember the last successful. Oh, we have some Eastern games coming out. We have Borderlands
Mhm.
4. We'll see how that turns out. We have
You mean Western?
or not Eastern, Western games.
Hmm.
We have Borderlands 4 that's coming out. We have the new Battlefield 6, which I would
Mhm.
consider. I think Dice
Call of
is
Duty
American.
7's coming in too. I yeah. And
Call of Duty
after how
7.
they messed up, I was like, oh god, I have no faith in 7 now.
The trailer. The funniest thing to me, and this is probably the last thing I'm gonna. The funniest thing and this is not Halo related or Activision Bungie related, is that someone in the comments for the Call of Duty 7 trailer said, "Hey, this trailer is so good. I want to go and pre-order Battlefield 6."
It was a good example of what not to spend their money on. Got it.
Yeah. And I was laughing because we talked about it. I watched the Battlefield 6 trailer and
Oh, it looks good.
all in the comments below, like it was like it's a great looking trailer, and all the comments below is like, no matter what, do not pre-order. Do not
Mhm.
pre-order. All right. If it's good, we'll get it. If it's not, we didn't pre-order. We need to set an example. And then
Mhm.
I saw that comment and made me laugh so hard. I was like, after everyone saying not to pre-order, this this is the final now.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that looks. But like I
Yep.
said, rip to
Rip the
Bungie.
Bungie.
R.I.P. Bro. Good luck.
Yep. You have any final comments? Any final words?
Nah, just they had a good run.
Uh, as make sure you leave a comment and like down below on your thoughts on Bungie being brought into the Sony fold, and whether or not you honestly think Bungie has any other game in them. And as Randy would say, things will come to an end.
Everything comes to an end. One day we won't
Exactly.
be here.
Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.